Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Get Well Gathering. This one is called Beyond Self-Love. We're going to be doing all kinds of wonderful somatic exercises and just learning from Miss Kelly here. Kelly owns Root to Rise Somatic Therapy, and she's a wonderful somatic practitioner. So we're excited to have you here. I checked all of you guys in because I'm going to do a little drawing at the end for some Madewell swag. So if I draw your name, you can either go pick out a t-shirt or an essential oil from the little stand in the lobby. Sound good? Cool. We'll see if the other person comes in. I know one of the ladies was in a session. She's a clinician, so she'll be joining, but we'll let them just kind of meander in. Yeah. And then if they both get here, then we'll just shut the door and you can kind of do whatever you need.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Lovey. Thanks for having me and us here.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Hi. I'm so glad you guys are here. It's so fun to get together in person. Like, seriously. I'm saying that from being behind the screen all day today. I'm Kelly. It's nice to meet you. Good to see you. I'm a somatic therapist, and what do we know about somatic work? Anything? Are we coming, like, what level are we coming in on? 0? Like, in minimal. This, how about this side?
Same.
Come on. A little something.
I guess yoga.
Yeah, you got a little something.
Right.
I like to sprinkle somatics into my yoga classes. Okay, great. Good. So my desire behind this workshop specifically is for you to have a felt sense of somatic work. That's really what somatic work is all about. Soma means body. And so the way that I'll typically describe it is, have you ever, when you feel really anxious about something, you usually feel like a wiggle in your belly or a tightness in your chest, feel really excited, maybe the same, wiggle in your belly, stress, maybe like heaviness in your shoulders. Those are somatic cues that something's needing attention, something's wanting attention, it's nonverbal. But it's our body saying like, hey, something's going on that needs attention. And so the work that I do, it really plays with the both. So it's not about negating the mind at all. It's about syncing the mind and body up together so they can work harmoniously. And I like to think about it as teaching your mind to speak your body's language, and your body's language being the wiggle in your belly, the tightness in your chest, so that your mind and your body stop feeling like two separate entities and more like one harmonious, integrated self. And the self is our, cliche as it is, it's the most important relationship we'll really ever have. And that was the basis for this workshop in particular. The relationship that we have with ourselves, it's reflective of every other relationship that we'll ever have. So it's about the both. It's about the mind and my approach, mind and body, behavior and emotion, thought and experience. So I want to give you both tonight. I want you to be able to have the experience and also the intellectualization of understanding what somatic work is. Sound good? Feel like you're in the right place? Good. So I figured in true somatic therapist fashion, we would start with a little bit of grounding, a little bit of breath, letting us all arrive here. So that doesn't have to mean like dropping into stillness meditative stance. In fact, I think movement is a really nice way to transition from whatever it was you were doing before this to coming into this room together. So move how you want to move. If you're not comfortable, like get comfortable. If you want to sit cross-legged, sit cross-legged. If you want to sit on the floor, live your truth. But move a little, like stretch. You can pull the neck around, kind of wiggle the hips into your chair. Maybe you were in traffic, maybe you just came from work, like letting the body transition from whatever it was that you were doing into now, okay, we're here. Yeah, exactly. You need a pen.
Yeah, I think I have something in the back.
I got one. That's a good one too. And then you can start to move towards stillness. We are going to do a little bit of dropping in. So I do want you to feel like you're comfortable. So wiggle needs to wiggle to find a seat that you can really ground down into. Your hands can rest on your lap, palms down, palms up. You can have a soft gaze or close your eyes completely. And as you start to settle, there might still be a little bit of movement. And start to feel into the points of contact that your body has with your chair. Feeling into the chair under you, the chair behind you. The way that your feet are making contact with the ground. We just start to slow things down. Bringing attention to your breath. And that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be manipulated or it needs to change. Just bring your attention to it as a way of arriving. Finding the present moment. Our body tends to work a little bit slower than our minds. So as you slow things down here by connecting to your seat, connecting to your breath, the two can start to come onto the same channel. This channel that operates in the present moment. Maybe as you breathe, you let the breath flow through this channel between head and heart, mind and body. Notice anywhere that you might be gripping, can you soften? We know this feeling of gripping, of tension and then softening, but can you also get curious around any other sensations that might be here as you start to connect with your internal landscape? Wiggles, tightness, warmth, contraction. Just getting curious around what it's like to be you in your body in this moment. And it's not forever, it's temporary. Spend about 2 more breaths here, giving it all breath, giving it all space. Nothing to fix, nothing to change. Next inhale can be the deepest yet, filling up. On the exhale, you just let it go. Good, one more like that, breathing in. Breathing out. Similarly to how you came into this, you can start to make your way out of it. So some gentle movement, wiggles of fingers, licking your lips. And even as you eventually blink your eyes open, you can take your time to transition, noticing the different colors of gray and brown on the ground. Maybe finding something in the room that feels comforting to you or neutral. And then eventually coming back. How do we feel? Here. You feel here. Same. So now that we're here, as we frame this workshop to really be about your relationship with you. I'm curious for you guys, and by the way, this is interactive. I want, anytime I teach anything, I want to feel communal. We're here in person in community. So shout out, interrupt me, all of it. I want to hear from you. What do you feel like gets in the way of your relationship with yourself being what you want it to be?
Time management.
Okay.
No.
My brain.
Okay. Great, you're in the right place.
And context and things, you know.
Expectation.
Expectations. Yeah.
I think kind of disconnect of like my brain trying to move through things, get past things, but like still feeling stuck in the disconnect of it.
Like overriding your nervous system.
Okay. Overriding your nervous system, yeah. I think if you were to boil it down to, let's say boil it down to one word, what would your word be? I'm not looking for any specific answer. There's no right or wrong. Just distilling down. You said brain. You've got one word.
Yeah.
Procrastination.
Procrastination. Okay.
Peace.
Expectations. Yeah. Right. So resonate.
I would say so.
Okay. Yeah. Any other words float around?
Relax.
Relax. Yeah. Or like lack thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I like peace, just kind of just like being, just like be. Be is my word of the year, so maybe that could be the word.
Yeah. 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 So when we think about what gets in the way of our relationship with ourselves, the way that I like to work in general is what's the desire and what's in the way? How do you want to feel? What's blocking that? And so if you think about, okay, well, I'm going to make an assumption that we all want to feel like we have a yummy relationship with ourselves that feels trusting, it feels clear, it feels loving, compassionate, but there are these things that get in the way. Procrastination, doubt, overthinking, expectations, external influence. Yeah. So I want to take us through a practice to peel back some of the layers of this. And I'm going to leave this as a group practice, but it's really going to be you going through this in your own way. So I want you to think about, even if you didn't share it with us, what that word is, the thing that gets in the way of the relationship that you want to have with yourself. Procrastination, expectation, thinking, whatever it is. Okay? You got it? Those of you who didn't share, you got your word? Okay. So I'm gonna have you re-close your eyes. Take a couple grounding breaths. We're already here, we've already settled. But give yourself a little bit of space. Using the breath just to create spaciousness. And then from the spaciousness, maybe you even envision somewhere in life that feels particularly spacious to you. Field, beach, warehouse. And then I want you to start to invite in to this space the part of you that feels connected to your word. Maybe that part looks like a version of you. Maybe it looks like a character. Connect with it, observe it. Really zooming into it, this part of you that's here, that's connected to, gets in the way. And as you zoom into it, I want you to notice even more about it. What is it? What's its body language? Maybe the expression on its face. What is it wearing? What's its energy like? And then it's here around this for a reason. So let it feel you, let it feel that you're here with it. It's part of you, connecting to it, even a layer deeper, and ask it, my heart, what do you want me to know? Let's see what it says. And as you receive this message from it, maybe there's a question that comes up for you. Maybe there's something else you want to say or it wants to say. Spend a couple of breaths being in dialogue with this part. Giving it room, giving it space, not here to fix it, to change it, but to really hear it out. And maybe as you converse with it, you notice something about it that you can validate. Something about it that makes sense. And let it really feel that validation from you. Notice how it responds to the validation. Seeing if there's anything else that wants to be said here. Something that this part needs or wants. Something that you want to say to it. And whatever
you want to do to feel complete with this part. Maybe giving gratitude, giving each other a hug, any closing words. And then when you're ready, to let it know, okay, I hear you, thank you, I'll see you later. Beginning to zoom out and away from the space. Coming back to right now. Noticing what you notice in your body. And then whenever you're ready, blinking your eyes open. Entering. I'd love to hear how that went. What did it do for you? Maybe it feels alive about that to share. It's over here.
My word in my head was this overall anxiety. But that's such like an umbrella term. So I talked there a little bit more. It's more like judgment and like fear of judgment from myself and others. And body language was just like smacking gum and looking at me with her arms all crossed. Ugh, you know? It was more like when I asked her like what she wants, and we had this little conversation, and it's more just like that's your opinion, and that's okay. And you know, not everyone's gonna be everybody else's cup of tea, but I accept you for all that you are, and I hope you accept me too. So that's why I got a bit of negative.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Remind me your name.
Christine.
This is what lives in our bodies. This isn't what we can intellectualize. Our minds say they like to label. They like things in nice boxes that are clear cut. So it's like, I have anxiety. But then when we give ourselves the time to breathe, to ground, to create a little space without needing to fix something, but just like, okay, you've got the floor. You are able to alchemize that anxiety, or really like distill it and say, okay, well, what's under that? What's judgment? And I feel you, judgment. I hear you. And I can also sense that you are a part. You are not capital S self. You're a part and you're needing something. That's why you're here. Yeah. So way to walk yourself through that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else?
Mine was me on the beach, just like a young girl, really free and lively and like no care in the world. And so I was trying to enter into that because as an adult, you know, you let so much anxiety and pressure and perfectionism play in on you. And so just that like free, loving girl. So I tried to do that.
Love it. Thanks for sharing. What? You can see it. Let it out.
My word was procrastination.
Yeah.
And it was more so you know where Airly Gardens is, like that big tree.
Yeah.
I pictured that because that's when I think of open space. Like,
Yeah.
it's free open space. And it was more of like this, like it's gonna sound weird, but it was like more of a blue blob.
Mhm.
Like, you know, when you can see a screen, like that lighting is kind of what I saw. And the feeling kind of was, it's just a task. I can just do it. It's not anything more than that. it's just that task. I don't have to hold on to that task. I'm not doing the task. I can just do it and be done. It doesn't have to like envelop me in everything. I can just do it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing and for bringing that up. And I also think there's something to be said about like not gaslighting ourselves and being able to just do it from this place. Not like I am not in the world of mindset shifts. It's not my jam. I'm like, we're getting deep. I don't know if you guys noticed. Because to get to the root of it, it creates this why I love this so much is because it creates separation that then facilitates integration. So you created a separation from the procrastination that let you say, okay, I can actually see this with way more clarity now, so that this can all become integrated. It's not a separate part of me. It's still me, but it just needs something different. Thanks for sharing. Any other share?
It's mom's expectation, and it kind of like I got really like deep in it, so I do want to talk about it. It's kind of hard because I was like lost in it. But like the part when you said like you want to validate it,
Yeah.
It was like it's always like manage your expectations, but it was like no, you want to have high expectations for yourself, but also it's like it was a different version of me, like a more successful, more healthy like version of me. That was like, but you can have it all. You can have like loving kindness towards yourself and have high expectations and have high standards. It was more like sometimes, I guess with me, it starts to think you got high standards, you have high expectations, but I don't want it to be an ego thing. So, but if you're that's it really. It gets into like, is that an ego thing? Like, no, you want to have high standards, you want to do good things. You want to think highly of yourself.
Yeah. All of our parts, you touched one part. We have so many parts. And we all just rather have like the same parts. All of our parts want us to be safe and successful and okay. They've all just got like wacko ways to do it. And so this part of you that has high expectations, it wants you to be successful. It wants you to be like this healthy version of you who has high standards. That's what I'm hearing. And so if you can feel into whatever part came up for you, there's a strength in it somewhere. And that's when I talk about the validation piece. Like, what about this part can you validate? Because there's something, it's here for a reason. It's protecting you from something, it's directing you towards something, it's keeping you safe. So there's something about it always, and you can take this practice with you. There's something about it always where it's like, what is the strength of this? And that's why I like the question of what do you want me to know? Because usually that'll help us find the strength, the reason why it's there, what it's trying to do. And some of our parts do it really fiercely, and it's like, okay. You don't need to be dragging the bus all the time. I see you, I hear you, thank you, and we're good right now. Any other shares? So there's a couple things. The reason why I find this practice to be particularly potent when it comes to our relationship with ourselves, one is probably obvious. Two, it also it expands our capacity to be with what is. And I think a lot of the time, I'm going to assume that you're all growth-oriented people. That's why you're here. And I think often that means that there's something that we're always striving to fix or solve. But what this practice does is it invites us into spaciousness, and spaciousness meaning presence. And you were just able to be present with this part of you
that is seemingly something to solve or fix without solving or fixing it. And I bet you it got you a different result than trying to solve or fix. That's more compassionate and probably more honest. So when we go from a state of fixing, like I've got this self-doubt, I gotta get a mindset shift about it, I've gotta fix my procrastination. When we go from fixing and we go towards being with what is, expanding our presence to sit with this part of us that would be otherwise seemingly uncomfortable or something we don't want to touch, when we can be with it, we really have more autonomy. We have more choice. And choice is freedom and choice is clarity. Because from this place, what you all just discovered, there's probably something behavioral and tangible that you can take away from that. Right? Like, how can you embody more of this, like, silly free? That's very behavioral. And that's the both and. You touched what's internal, and now you can take it external. You touched emotions, and now you can turn it into behavior. So when we have this ability to tune into what's deeper, right? Like, that's what I always think about, peeling back. So we're going to peel back layers really sweetly, really compassionately. It's not about ripping anything off. It's like a gentle, sweet unfolding. We meet ourselves with compassion. We find the underlying thing, the root, so that we're not just swirling on the surface and how all of our shit is presenting, right? We're actually getting to the deeper thing to make a sustainable shift. And then we have more compassion for ourselves because we have more clarity. And we're meeting ourselves with this voice of like, oh, I see you working overtime to try to protect me. Thank you. And also, we're going to try a different method. Like, how sweet, honestly. And when we know how to meet ourselves with this kind of presence and compassion, we can certainly, it makes it a lot easier to do it with others. And when we don't, when we kind of act from whatever is just presenting itself on the surface, there tends to be a lot of doubt, self-doubt, a lot of projecting. And that's the kind of stuff that like gets into our relationships that makes it feel yucky. So the same way that you find clarity in this way, peeling back layers of yourself to get to the deeper thing, that deeper thing affects your relationships positively. Where you can say, okay, well, I can see why have this high expectation. I can see how that's a strength of mine. I know how to meet that with compassion. So I can own that, or maybe I can see that in you. Because the level to which we can meet ourselves, the level of depth that we can meet ourselves in, is the level of depth we can meet others in. So, pause there. Anything coming up?
I feel like it's a lot easier for me to meet others.
Yeah.
With, like, that ease of connection, compassion, and all of those things that it is for me to meet myself with those things. Way easier. What do you think that is? Why are any of us the way that we are? Yes. Just like a history of behavior, environment, choices, those kinds of things. It's definitely not a passive thing, which is why I'm here. You know, a bunch of us are here, obviously. But my word was disconnect, because I feel like that's really like central.
You're feeling disconnected from yourself. Yeah. So then, where is the validation? How are you validating that?
Do you mean how am I perpetuating the disconnect, or how do I validate myself?
How can you, and maybe you did in that process, maybe not, how can you validate your disconnect? What would that sound like?
In our practice before,
Yeah.
I saw like an unhealthier version of myself. Like I have like a chronic illness, and there was a time when I was like really physically ill. And I also like pull my hair, like I have trichotillomania. So I saw like this version of myself that was like hot mess expressed. And I just like, my meditation was just acknowledging that those parts of me exist, but that I can still like, that they're still me, you know, like that, not necessarily to fix, just to observe. So I think that that's, at least at this point, that's where the validation comes in, just like acknowledgement, even though it's like scary.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think.
Could I validate you? Sure. Is that allowed? In this space? I just, as you were talking, I just hear like, if you're having that disconnect from yourself, especially having chronic illness, it would make sense that you don't want to connect because you're in pain. Like it makes sense that it's hard to sit with that. And so it makes sense that you disconnect sometimes, and that's okay.
And connect with others.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe that's the dynamic that does feel easier. And in that, of course. So sharing.
Would you say like as because when you wrapped us up and you're like, okay, notice what you're feeling as you're coming back, you know, into this space. I can like see that flow of like you have more choice, there's the clarity there. But I had this feeling when I came back into the space of, okay, and now what do I do with that? Right? Like, because I was like feeling that. So I was like, okay, and now.
Great. That's where we were going.
Yes, okay.
So my jam, as I started with, is the both. My first master's is in behavior. Behavior is really big, but I also got to that ceiling where I was like, okay, but there's more. Obviously, why do I have a degree in behavior and psychology, and my behavior and my psychology sucks? My relationship with myself sucks, really sucked, and then I found somatic. So this is my question for you: is what now? How do we take what you found, that conversation you had with yourself, and we make it tangible, and we create a shift? And maybe you take a minute to think about it, write it, whatever. But there is something from what you found that you can now bring externally. Share it. Oh.
Share mine. My word that I was working on was urgency.
Oh.
And I actually, funny enough, today saw this video of a mom on Instagram, like repeating to herself, like, this is not an emergency. This is not an emergency. And so I guess my like, and now what is maybe to utilize that kind of, you know, mantra or something of, hey, this is not an emergency. Like the world, I don't have to be urgent in this matter, right? And just like coming back to that over and over, I guess.
Yeah. If we were working together, I would guide you to the root of that urgency. Because I think what tends to happen with mantras is they address the way that things are presenting, and then it keeps us in that hovering space without actually like getting to the deeper thing. So I think there's an invitation there for you. Well, yes, the mantra is great. I like a mantra that has roots. And so the invitation would be, well, where, but maybe you felt into it to some degree in that practice of like, what if we follow this down, if we peel back the layers on the urgency, what is
what do you want me to know? Urgency. And also, if you don't have a behavior in mind or an action item, I really have fun workshopping action items. So you could also say that we can come up with one together. Or if you've got like a half-baked one, great.
I guess my question is, like, because you were saying how, you know, people who are in this environment in this today are in a growth mindset. How do you deal with people who are
I thought
not
the same
in a growth mindset? Or you have coworkers who are not in the growth mindset, or people who just like want to stay in a low vibration and just like dwell in their negativity, because I don't tolerate that well. Yeah. Layered, yeah.
I think the bottom line, like the thing in bold and exclamation point is that we can't control our people. I like to do a lot of values work, which is very like cognitive. But I think it serves as a really great North Star to see why things are disruptive to us or why there's dissonance both internally and interpersonally. And so it's also very permission giving. And if growth is a value of yours, and however that manifests, whether it's like reading or that job or whatever, that is your value to lean into. Like all the way. That's obviously a strong motivator for you. And people have different values. Yeah. And so the question for you would be, what about this is creating distress for me? And that would be the route that I would invite you to follow. Like follow that down.
Yeah, I guess the frustration that people don't want to get better. Like why?
Yeah. And then I would follow that down too. keep pulling back. Why? And why do I care?
I guess because I'm a healer. And I want to heal people. And it's hard to work around people who don't. It feels disconnected for me. Like I'm out of place.
Meaning for people that you work with at work. Is their lack of growth that's on the same plane as yours affecting your work? That's a great place to keep going back to. Like why? Why is this affecting the integrity of my work? Because that says to me there's something this is anytime that something is activating for us, it's touching on a part of us that's asking for attention. Whether we're jealous of someone else, that's touching on a part of us that wants attention. Whether we're like triggered by someone, that's touching. I'll give you a really tangible example. When I did my yoga teacher training, there was someone in my cohort who would just like go into a handstand and like fall. And I was like, why? This is so disruptive. And it would make my blood boil. And I hated it. And I went home one day and I was like, hey, what is this illuminating me? Like, what part of me wants attention? And I kept pulling it back. I was like, no, he's rude and yada yada. I finally kept pulling it back of like compassionate inquiry until I got to the root that was like, this person so doesn't give a shiz, and I give so many. I am so worried about how I'm perceived, and they don't care at all. How freeing for him to live his life that way. I'm envious. So sometimes you gotta keep following that thread of like where, and you can even notice it, to bring the somatic work into it, like where does your body light up when it's activating something. What is it activating your body and how does it feel? Is it the tightness in your chest? Can you just spend some time with that without fixing it, without trying to get rid of the tightness? Like, okay, tightness, you can be here, I'm listening. Yeah, we did one somatic parts work practice tonight. There are so many to keep pulling back. Those layers.
How do you know you've done?
Oh, well,
I don't think you have done.
choose my necklace. I bought this necklace because it feels really representative of the work that I do.
Yeah.
Which is that it's a spiral.
Oh, okay.
We just keep meeting the same parts with more wisdom and with more compassion, ideally.
Good question.
I felt the exact same way, but mine was more with romantic relationships where there's a lot of people that I still love that they don't want to grow, and it's just you just want them to show up to this and see what their life could be, and yeah, it's like peeling that back of them. What is it?
Yeah, this happens a lot with families too. And there's also something to be said about being able to hold the discomfort of it not being the way that you want it to be. Not some of that like higher level stuff of like what if this just is, and how can I expand my capacity to be with my own discomfort of wishing this was different. Now I do have time. So as we mix all of these things together, we blend the inner and the outer, the mind and the body. I value the inner exploration, and I really value having tools and being well resourced. And so this tool that you have, which is so simple and so good, of taking a moment to ground, to create space, to invite the part of you, even if you don't know the name for it in that moment, but like you're sitting in traffic and you're really annoyed and you're like, okay, what part of me is here? The listening part. And you see what comes up and you meet it and you hear it and you say, oh, of course you're annoyed about this. You get it? Got you. That tool alone can change your life. It changed my life. I use it every single day. I use it with every single client. So hopefully you take that tool with you and you apply it and you keep applying it as new parts bubble up and share themselves with you. And now you have a way to communicate it. You have a way to speak your body's language. You become a bit more fluent in your body's language, right? If there's any other questions, I'm here for it. And I wanna open it up to questions. I also want to be mindful of time. But before we do, if this is something that's intriguing to you and you're curious, I work with clients one-on-one. There's the option to look into that together to feel if it would be a good fit. If the desire's there, you can always book a call with me on my website or message me and say you're intrigued. That's what I've got for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for being here.
You do in person?
Right here.
That's
Have this great space.
I have a question. Can you repeat the process?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anytime we're doing something with our bodies, we want to give ourselves a good foundation. So step one is like settle in, ideally. Ground, take a breath. And let your nervous system know, I've got you, you're safe. Then you can invite in, that this spacious place. You can go back to Airlie Gardens every time. I go back to this one beach in Hawaii like every time. That's like my spot where I do all my work. So you conjure up your space. And then there's a couple different ways. If you're feeling like you've got some kind of conflict happening, you could say, okay, all the parts related to this conflict, come on in, I'm listening. And then once you've got all your parts, you say, okay, who wants my attention most? If you've got a really active part that's like right there, bless you, then you could say like, okay, procrastination part, okay, inner critic part, okay, perfectionist part, like, I'm listening. I'm listening. You find a way to validate it, find a strength in it, find the reason why it's here. What do you want me to know? Okay, I hear you. That makes sense. And then I would say like a bonus points, if you then find a way to like bring this part along for the ride. So you could ask it like, okay, procrastination part, I've heard you, I understand you, I get where you're coming from, I'm glad you feel better, you feel more integrated. What would feel so good for you moving forward? And maybe the part is like, maybe for you it's like, I would love if we just dance more. Or like
Neglected.
yeah. Or maybe just like let it be not that serious sometimes. That's how we integrate the part. Bring it along for the ride without it needing to always drive the bus. Thank you.